What is up, guys? You're about to listen to episode number 13 of the Third Floor Chronicles. That's right, guys. Lucky number 13. And this week's special guest, none other than Lavell Crawford. This was recorded Sunday, August 7th, in between the first and second shows. And just a little insight for you guys. Improv doesn't normally do a second show on Sundays, but when you're selling out each show like Lavell was, you got to add a second show. So on that note, check out the interview. All right, Lavell, tell us where you first got started in comedy.
St. Louis, Missouri, at the Funny Bone Comedy Club, open mic night.
Open mic. How long were you thinking about it before you actually did it?
Probably a while, man. When I was in college, and I met Sinbad, and he was the first new black young comic, because at that time I only think Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby was doing it at the time. So when he brought him up to my college, it was like, wow. At first I wanted to just be a rapper to make funny raps about people, but then I seen a stand-up, and I was just like, man, that's great.
What year was that?
It was around 87.
So were you a stand-up fan at that point?
Yeah, I was more of a fan. I wasn't into it yet. I hadn't got into it yet. I was just, watching people and just learning. And that was back when MTV had a comedy show, Comedy Central had a comedy show, and I wanted to do it. My cousin was dating this guy who was a comedian, and I was like, oh, wow, he doing it. I watched him on his comedy show. He was okay. And I said, I'm going to try it. And I used to make a friend of mine laugh so much. And I said, I think I can do this because I can make people laugh. Because I come up with clever stuff all the time, and people think it's funny. But I never tried to do it until I finally got up on the open mic at the Funny Bone. Went up, made people laugh just off the top of my head. And I said, I'm going to make it a career.
So it was all improv work for you the first time?
Yeah. Just talking about my mom's car catching on fire, having Christmas gifts in the car. I'm running out there with a cup of water. She thought I was trying to save the car. I was just trying to save my racing car track in the back.
Did you think that's what stand-up was at the time, like improv stuff, or did you know to write and stuff like that?
Well, I knew you had to write and become your own character, because, I listened to the greats. Like Richard Pryor put a picture in your head, you know what I'm saying? When he talked about, when he shot the car and the tires came down, he animated it, and, from him going to the voodoo priestess. The Red Fox talking about, different things going in the neighborhood, and, and the guy come out with, I know karate, I know razor, and just as many ideas that you hear Bill Cosby talking about his kids, and they was like, Dad's great when he got them the chocolate cake for breakfast, and then his wife was mad at him, how she looked. That whole telling the story, I knew that you had to come up with your own ideas.
So did you have 5 minutes, your first set?
Roughly, played around with it, tweaked it a lot.
Thank you. Back then, how often were you doing open mics after you first started?
I did open mic for maybe 3 years, and then I would go and find other places to do it, jazz bars, blues clubs, nightclubs, anywhere they would allow me to get on. I would do a set, and I wasn't afraid. I was fearless. I had no money, but I think I got my first. I prayed for a booking, and this comedian asked, "Hey, Lavell's funny, man. We need him to come over and MC for us at this comedy club in Belleville, Illinois." And I went up and opened up, MC'd the show one night, and the lady loves me so much, she told me, name my price. And I said, I could have been greedy, like, man, I'll take $2,000. But, I said, what's your minimum? Because, I'm an honest guy. And she said $250. I said, $250? I said, wow, I needed all that $250 because my head gasket blew on my car, and I just drive it over there. But it was a launching pad.
How much time was it? Like maybe 15 minutes?
Well, the funny thing was when she wanted me to feature, and I had to have 25 minutes, and all I had was 8 minutes. And after my 8 minutes, I had to come up with knock jokes. But I was doing it, and I would come up, and that's when I really got a gauge on knowing to learn and do my experiences. And once I started doing my experiences on stage, that's, telling, because like my car broke down, and me and my buddy, he was just as big, he's a big guy too, and we was trying to get a ride, and nobody would stop for him. So I said, why don't you hide in the car, and when the car come pull up, you pop out, and maybe we can get a ride then. And I was talking about that whole situation, and the crowd was loving it, and I was just like, damn, I'm just telling stories.
When you first started doing those first couple of years where you're doing open mics, how often do you think you were getting stage time during the week?
Well, probably every Tuesday, and then I moved to the Best of St. Louis every Monday, and then after that I would try to go up every weekend, anywhere I could. And then I started doing a lot of private parties, like getting like $75 a pop, doing some strip clubs, doing rock and roll bars where they really didn't want to hear comedy. Mm-hmm. So, anywhere I can get up.
Cool, man. How long did it take you before you started featuring?
Not long at all. I got my first big break when I got a 2-week tour down in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. I went up and killed the room, and the guy gave me 2 weeks of work, driving all over the country, and I was killing it so bad. The next time he seen me, he said, "Well, we're just gonna make you a feature," and I featured for about maybe about a year and a half, and he just said, "You're a headliner, even though you don't have the name. We're going to just let you be the headliner. You just build your name." And I built myself up in that club, learn how to self-promote, learn how to build it up, and learn how to just keep writing. Every time I'm on stage, I was writing, and it came natural to me.
What do you think at the beginning, like maybe before you became a feature, was there something that you knew was lacking in your game that you knew you had to overcome in order to become a feature or a headliner? Was there maybe the writing or your stage presence or crowd work? Was there anything you knew you had to get better at?
Well, once I overcame, I was hollering about I wanted to do Best of St. Louis, and then I wanted to do it so bad, and I said, "Oh my God!" I want to do Best of St. Louis, and I went up, and I was killing. But then I had a lull in my act. And one thing most comics are afraid of is dead air. They're afraid of when the crowd stops laughing. Because your energy up here, and when they stop laughing, you're like, "Oh shit, where do we go from here?" And once I got away from being afraid of that, I was fearless. I mean, now, I may pause and let them sit there for 10 minutes, and I'll take them right back into the ride. Now, and that's where once I started doing that in feature act, it wasn't no time I wasn't worried about, because I started watching some of your comedians, from Carlin and to Bill Hicks to, guys who, like Stephen Wright back in the day. Stephen Wright, his deadpan humor, but he never worried about the audience losing attention from the audience, because like Chris Rock said something powerful. He said, "You know that you're a powerful man when the audience is quiet. Wait for the next thing come out your mouth. It's okay when they laugh, and you cool when they laugh, but when they waiting to see what you gonna talk about, that's a powerful thing. That means you are guiding them. You know what I mean? So
it gives them a chance to reset too.
Sure.
Sometimes they laugh over the jokes because they're so busy laughing.
Sure. And then the thing about it, like sometimes you be so powerful. I've seen times where they be, and you don't know how to keep them on that ride. But it ain't that reason. It's your control. They don't have to be on that ride. Take them on this ride, just like being at Six Flags. Sometimes you're on the roller coaster to death. Sometimes you're on the carousel. And then you're back on the roller coaster. Next thing you know, you're on the spinning wheel of death. You don't never know where you take them.
Plus, when you made the transition from a feature to a headliner, that kind of gap, it lets you fill up your time. Because I'm sure you didn't have 45 minutes the first time you headlined, right?
Well, yeah, I did.
You did, right?
Yeah. I had 45 minutes when I was featuring. They had to wrap me up, because I was just up there having a ball. I had to give, I was lucky. I was just one of them lucky ones that I loved doing this. And then once I got up there, my imagination, when I was a kid, I used to always had a crazy imagination. So I'm on stage, I'm telling you, it may be truthful, but I'm taking you on a ride. Like I tell them out on stage, even if you heard me, the boy Eric beat me up. I mean, there was a real kid named Eric Blaine used to beat me up. And I just always wondered how I can beat Eric up, I finally beat him up. It took me a while, but I did beat him up, but I had no spinach. But the thing about it was, you had bullies and people think that's funny, because when you're a kid, you thinking, how can I beat this guy up? You know what I'm saying? And that's where you take people, because everybody in that audience has somebody that they had that experience with. Brother, sister, friend.
What was your writing process like back then? Did you actually sit down and write a certain amount of hours, or did you just kind of throughout the day jot stuff down?
I like to tell people all the time, I would write topics, but most of the time I would tape myself. Cause you hear more when you tape yourself. That's when videotapes started coming out. I can watch myself on tape. Like, why did I wear that? And then I listen to how I did a joke. And then even if I tape myself and I can hear how I put it, what I did that time to make them laugh that time. You know what I mean? So, because it's always triggers that you might have forgot. Oh, I didn't say this that I said last time to make this work to this, you know. Because it's all about reaction to a reaction to a reaction. What you react. Do you react to them laughing, or you react to the joke? Do you stay on the momentum, or you do a kind of tempo, you know? And that's how I did. I taped, just like you got this beat recorded. That's what I use.
Do you still tape your shows now?
Well, yeah, we can tape them now through the soundboard now, you know, and I still listen to them. And
Do you just do it when you're working on new stuff, or do you do?
I do it all the time. Yeah. You know, when I got a place when I can tape, I do it. I tape it. It's no problem. You know, because it's good to have just to listen. Because sometimes, you know, like if I'm on a TV show and I'm off a week from the comedy club, sometimes I just listen to myself to just catch up on where I'm at. You know, and just see where I'm at and see what because a lot of people watch. I done got a lot of stuff, a lot of content out there on DVD. The Shaq All-Star Show, everybody watched it. They want to hear those jokes, and some of them I forgot. Some of them was off the top of my head because I went out there and I just was having fun. And then people watch their show religiously, and they want to hear those jokes again.
And comics always worry that they're going to hear the same jokes, and they want to hear the same jokes.
Yeah, it's amazing. When you're funny, you're just like a real talented singer. They want to hear all your music. You know what I mean? They want to hear it all the same way. It's crazy, you know, because some people are so fickle. Oh, yeah, but then some people are like, do that one joke. We want to hear it. No matter what, we don't care what nobody else say. We want to hear the one we like.
If you hear someone, like for instance, like tonight at your second show, if someone yells out a bit, would you do it? Because they want you to do it?
Yeah, I've done it. I did it last night. People want to hear the crack joke. I had to talk about the crack joke. Somebody wanted to hear something about church. I had to do that joke. Somebody wanted me to do the joke.
Do you like that, or do you want to stick to your set?
I don't mind as long as you ain't rude with it. Some people get up, come on, you know, if you do that, then I'll cut you down and talk about you and make you the show. But, you know, I don't mind, because, you know, all that is for appreciation, man. That's all it is, you know. I mean, damn, who you know, I remember back in the day when nobody wanted to hear none of my damn jokes, so, you know.
Perspective, you're right.
Hey, yeah.
When you do a weekend like this, do you try to stick to a certain set list, or do you kind of mix it around each night to see what's working better? How do you handle that? I
stick to a same rhythm, but I do pull things out, put other things in. Or if I get, like, you know, I did this part. Now I'm talking about black folks always trying to get paid, and I thought about that so many times. I wanted to work on that, and it's a hot little riff because it's true. Because we always try to get paid, and it's the truth. So in that same aspect, I do mix things up because you always want to come up with something new.
Has that been your opener for a while now, or did that?
No, it just happened this weekend.
Nice. But your close, that's definitely something you close with, right? The one you did tonight?
No. I make every joke a closer joke. Because you don't know when you're going to have to end that.
That's true. And if it doesn't end how you want, you're going to do another closer joke.
Yeah, I got a million of them.
What's the longest stretch you've ever been on tour at one time?
Well, I mean, it wasn't a comedy tour. I was on a play for 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of a hassle, but I was on there for 6 months.
Do you have like a home club that you work on your stuff, or do you just throw it in on the road?
I used to, but now I'm married. I used to have the Comedy Union in Los Angeles, you know, and I can still go there, but I haven't been there in a while. And then, you know, in St. Louis, I used to have the Funny Bone, but, you know, I'm on the road a lot now, so I get a lot of workouts just being on stage.
What's your favorite place to perform besides your hometown?
I love Vegas, Birmingham, Alabama. I love even Atlanta is great. I have a good time, and Tampa's a good city. Florida is really turning out to be a great comedy state. Because at first, like Miami, I used to want to go because it was a lot of people who spoke all kind of different languages. So I didn't know if they got me, but they fell in love with me down in Miami.
You said you got a new Comedy Central Presents coming out?
Yeah, that's a
special. That's your second one?
Our special, yeah. This is our special, though.
This
is the one I shot.
Okay. Did you have more creative control, obviously, on the second one than you did the first one?
Yeah, way more. Well, my jokes is mine on the first one, but they put the fucking background up. I ain't had no choice in that, but I did my set. But this time, this was in my hometown, and then I had to go out and promote it. I shot a mockumentary with it, which was real funny. Plus, it was my whole idea, my whole vision. Everything was mine.
How many did you film? 2 shows to get the footage, or was it just one show?
Just one monster pop.
Nice. How long did it take for you to work on the material before you actually recorded the special?
Not long, because it was time for me to do it. My first hour special, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I knew exactly where I was going to go.
Do you always have the same opener with you? Do you bring them on the road? How does that work for you?
I have a few people. I have a female, but now she's getting her career together. Dominique Whitten. She's on the Tom Joyner show a lot now. But I have a few people I bring out. I try to bring out people a lot. A lot of times they get overwhelmed by the crowds, because a lot of you young comics. Sometimes I try to help young comics, but young comics nowadays not like we used to, man. Some of them are arrogant, and then they say, they don't realize, man, you gotta be humble in this game, man.
Did anybody bring you on the road when you were starting out?
At first, but I'm a tiger, so I don't be meaning no disrespect. I just only know one speed. So it was hard when people wanted to bring me out.
Yeah, they couldn't follow you.
Yeah, that likability, it was hard. I mean, Steve Harvey wanted me to go out on the road with him at one time, but my manager told me there wasn't no money, and I wish I would have, but we still got a friendship going on. And, but I had to go out and get it myself. A lot of people didn't want me out there.
How did you end up doing the Last Comic Standing? Was that something your manager wanted you to do? Was that something you wanted to do?
Well, I auditioned the first time, made it through that night, but it just, I don't know, I just was tired because I flew all the way back to L.A. from Birmingham, Alabama, and I was just so fatigued. So by that night, I just really wasn't feeling it. But then Kathleen Madigan was one of the judges that year that I did it, and Alonzo Bolden, I knew him, and I knew Ant. But Kathleen and our friend Paige was one of the talent coordinators, and they were saying, Lavell, you'd be great for the show, and we need you, blah, 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 you'll kill this. And I just like, man, I'm tired of contests. I ain't really want to be in it. So I said, what the hell, if I can get in where I ain't got to go through the line and everything. I walked in, went up, killed it, they loved it. And I went to L.A., I fucking killed it again. And then when it came down to it, when I got on the show, I mean, they was just like, oh man, we're going to use this guy to pump it. And I became a star from it. I mean, honestly, a lot of people know and love me from that show.
Did you see an immediate impact on your live shows from the people that seen you on TV?
Yeah, I mean, when we took a break right after we filmed the first episodes, and we took a hiatus after that, I went to Denver that week. The whole place was sold out before I did any radio. It was all packed. Standing room.
Have you ever worked there before?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Are you running into the same thing with the Chelsea Lately stuff? Because she has a huge crowd.
Well, Chelsea, yeah, it just kept me on a nice pace. I mean, the Shaquille All-Star thing, it just reintroduced me to everybody for some reason. It reintroduced, but Chelsea gives me another audience, the females and the men over 40, 50 years old. Now they just like, oh, man, we love Chelsea, you're great on that. So I got that show, and the only thing about Chelsea is people are naive to comedy. They think that what they see on there is what you're going to do that night. And which ain't, I mean, it's just, we thinking on
so
top of our head.
So people get shocked sometimes.
Yeah, that's so funny. But I said, man, we do. Comedians, we making jokes up about Lindsay Lohan. I'm not doing that on stage.
Have you ever been a victim of someone stealing some of your jokes?
A lot of times.
How'd you handle one of those situations?
One time, this comedian, he was opening up for me, man. It was so funny. He goes up and does the joke. I did a joke about, I dated a retarded girl, and we broke up, and she was calling my answer machine, and she tried to leave an evil message, but I knew it was like, but you don't know who this is. And she was beeping for the answer service beeping. And I did this joke on Common View, like, man, about like 97, 98. And this dude, I knew this cat when he was a young comic. He knows it's my joke. He goes up and did the joke verbatim, like he wrote it. And I fronted him like, dude, now you know me for years. It ain't like you don't know me. It ain't like I never knew who you was. You knew who I am.
And it was verbatim. It was
right,
like
verbatim, man. And then he goes like, wow, I'm glad you told me because my cousin told me that joke. And I thought it was funny. I said, well, your cousin tell you a joke. That means you didn't write it. So you think your cousin ain't a joke writer. So you know you got it from him. But you know me. You know I did that joke. Stop lying to me. So you
couldn't even own up to it.
And it was the thing that I don't even do the joke no more. But I did do it that night just to cut him loose on it. And I just let him know that that's my joke. And I said, dude, don't do my material no more.
Did you tell the audience what happened?
No, I didn't do it like that.
Got it.
I didn't do it like that. Because, I mean, it's one of them things where I'm not a person. If you go up and do my set, I'm going to be angry with you because I'll be like, okay, now it's going to cost you. Because I'm going to make you pay me for them jokes. But I'm not a guy who's like, oh, you do my joke, I can't believe it. Because I'm a comedian, I can just keep on writing. It was a comedian, some guy wrote on Twitter, I did a joke about Mexicans, the Mexican food. How Mexican food is always the same thing to me, you know what I'm saying? And he said Jim Gaffigan did the joke, and I said, man, I've been doing comedy 23 years. I wrote that joke back when I was like 4 years in the game. Jim Gaffigan wasn't even in the game when I was in the game. So the thing about it is, dude, you don't know me, so you don't know who wrote the joke, so you can't accuse me of stealing, because I don't have to steal. I don't have to steal to do a joke. Even if some comedian tried to front me, I said, dude, I don't even know you. What have you been on for me to do that? And I don't mean no harm to you, but dude, I'm always frightened. And you think about one joke and you want to fight a man for one joke that you think gonna be your killer. This joke ain't gonna be your bread and butter. So you need to always write. But I'm not a person, I don't even listen to comedy. If I listen to you, I come up to you and I say, man, you know what, make that joke funnier if you do it like this. Now you can take it or you can leave it. But I mean, I'm telling you, that would kill that joke. Now, but I don't even waste my time doing it because I think I personalize everything I do. And then when you personalize your joke, it's hard for somebody to do it. It's hard for
They
me.
can't even sell it the same way.
Not even way. Because when a person hear me, like I do the joke about Down by the Lake, they can't even listen to other comedians do that joke. Oh man, that's Lavell Crawford.
Last question. Give us, I know it's probably been a while, give us the best bombing story that you've had. Worst case, you bombed, embarrassed. Tell us that story.
The word bombing. Well, I think the one I thought was the worst when I met my wife. It was at Atlanta at this hair show, and it was like 6, 7 comedians on the show, and I don't know what was going on. Excuse me. But the promoter, the lady, she was on the company, and she came up to me, now we want you to be clean. Now all these comedians talking about washing vaginas, washing breasts, ducking penises. I mean, she tells me I gotta be clean now. So I'm on stage being squeaky clean. I'm running through the motions, trying to, and the crowd was cool. They was laughing, but they wasn't laughing. And all of a sudden they started walking out on me. They started walking out. I was like, oh God.
And you can see it, obviously.
Right. I was feeling the pain, and I was just like, oh God. And I tried to hit them as hard as I can. So then I went blue. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to just go, y'all walking out on me. So the crowd really left. They started leaving really on me. But they wasn't leaving. I didn't know what. I was just sitting back there just bewildered. Like, oh my God, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, you know, that was my first time ever really bombing. But the next thing you know, they said, Lavell, there's almost 500 people out here want to see you. And I was like, what for? And I go out there, these people wanted pictures. You know, they big fan. Oh man, we love you, man. You got on stage, you real. I said, man, y'all wasn't laughing. We was laughing, but the people was getting us out of there because they had to go catch the bus. And I thought it was for me.
You taking it personal.
Right, I took it personal. That was the first time that I really, because I did some games, some old shows when I first started where I got hit, where they gonged me with a wrench on the gong show, you know, but that was okay because I wasn't ready back then. So, you know, that was cool. But without, you know, I'm the main guy on the fly, I thought it was a big deal. And then, but these people, they put me up. I ain't go up till like about 2 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, you can weigh it up as a bomb or you can weigh it up as whatever.
It happens, right? As a comic, you can't focus on the positive. You always have to focus on the people walking out.
Oh, you focus on somebody sitting there looking at you like you stink, you know what I'm saying? So that was probably the worst time, but if my wife was one of the people taking pictures at the time, and when she took a picture with me, she gonna say, where you staying at? And I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Now you forgot to say.
Right. Right, but I had told her, but I didn't tell her exactly, and we wound up getting on the phone, and we talked, and we wound up falling for each other, and now we got a son, and we're living in California.
Full circle, my friend. Right. Thanks, Lavell.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Well, there you have it, folks. Episode number 13 is in the books, as we like to say around here. And if you like what you heard from Lavell Crawford, be sure to check him out this week on Comedy Central. He is premiering his latest special titled, Can a Brother Get Some Love? And don't worry, guys, if you don't see it August 12th, you know how Comedy Central works. They will show that thing a million times. So make sure you check it out whenever you get a chance. Also, he's on Chelsea Lately all the time. He's in Breaking Bad this year. Lavell's doing a lot of huge things, so make sure you check him out. But mainly, if he comes to your city, do yourself a favor, just get tickets. I went to the show on Sunday, and no lie, within 30 seconds, he lit the room on fire, and it didn't stop until he walked off stage. So it's a great show. Make sure you check him out. Also, if you got a couple minutes, go to my website, joeriga.com. It's pretty cool. Got interviews, jokes, some artwork, some cool things like that. So, on behalf of the Tampa Improv and Matthew Baldwin, my name is Joe Riga, and until next time, thank you very much.